It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker, talking about what's going on in sports. Love to get your thoughts as well. 435-339-0321. That's the Full Court Press text line. If you have a question, a comment, a complaint.
If you have complaints,
a joke. I mean, we've had a few comedians try to text in today already.
If you have complaints, send them to Eric's inbox.
Yes,
yeah.
If you
have a complaint about my writing, send it to Eric's inbox.
Just send it all to my
It's
inbox.
just all to Eric. Send it through him. That way I don't have to see it. And if it's really bad, he can tell me.
Yeah, then I'll share it. 435-339-0321. Excuse me, Utah State getting back in the win column on the road. Midway point in region play. The local high school teams just have a couple games left before it's tournament time. A couple weeks left of the regular season. And so what differences need to take place, or what kind of changes will we see to finish out the bottom half, the back half of region play? Utah State has a little bit of a break. They were in California last week. They've returned home. They host New Mexico late on Wednesday. It'll be a national broadcast, and so it's an 8:30 tip-off hosting New Mexico. But as of right now, enjoying the getting another win on the road. That was a big deal, and doing it in a way that some of the things that we have expressed concern about, they got that win, kind of addressing a lot of those concerns that have been raised over these last week or so.
Yeah, it's kind of the frustrating thing now, because every single one of the weaknesses we've talked about with this team, 3-point percentage defense, at times giving up offensive rebounds, getting beat on the offensive boards or your own defensive glass, getting cold on offense at the wrong times, allowing big runs, or at least cutting those runs short, cutting them short at 6-0, 8-0, and then maybe responding with a run of your own. Every single one of these weaknesses we've addressed, we've seen them, make those weaknesses seem like strengths. Where, in this game we completely shut down the opposing team's 3-point percentage. In this game we completely dominated rebounding. In this game we were absolutely on fire. We never got cold one bit. And we've seen them do it on the road, in neutral site games, just all these different things. We've seen at some point all of these weaknesses performed as if it was a strength in basically every situation. But it's against these really good teams that they're showing these weaknesses. In reality, the weaknesses of Utah State, they're only weaknesses against good teams. Because against mediocre or bad teams, they don't really showcase these weaknesses as much, at least on a regular basis. Sure, the Weber State game, but there's always those anomaly games. And you can say that with SMU as well. It's like, okay, there are anomaly games, but every team has those anomaly games. So for the most part, Utah State has not shown weaknesses against mediocre to bad teams. They've only shown these weaknesses against good teams, which I guess that's just kind of how it is with everyone. You only show your weaknesses when you play really good teams. But it just does go to show that Utah State, at least right now, is a step below those good teams because they get exposed by those good teams.
Yeah, and this is still a team that has opportunity here, right, to still stay in the top tier. And when I say top tier, that's like the top 3 or 4 teams. And I think Utah State still has an opportunity there. I mean, technically, when you look at the conference records, Aggies are tied for 3rd. So I mean, there's 3 other teams with the same conference record. Nevada would really have a tiebreaker over Utah State just because of the head-to-head.
Did Nevada played New Mexico, right? Have they played each other yet? I'm looking it up.
Okay, so
Nevada beat New Mexico. That's right. So Nevada would actually be.
They would be the number 3 spot.
They would be number 3, and the New Mexico and Utah State would just be tied. I don't know what complicated tiebreakers you can put together at the moment. You probably could put together something, but Utah State and New Mexico would be tied.
One more reason why this game on Wednesday is really important.
Yeah, it's big because
face them once.
Yeah, and this is the only team. New Mexico's the only team. The Utah of the top 5, the Utah State can get a perfect tiebreaker with, because everyone else, best you can do is split. And so after that, you got to worry about conference records and other weird. I don't know what secondary tiebreakers do they usually use.
That's a good question. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, might have to look that up. Because, best case scenario, you're relying on all these weird secondary tiebreakers and maybe a tiebreaker with New Mexico, which would be huge because, right now it's looking like New Mexico may be right in where Utah State is, so could be the difference between getting the 3rd and 4th seed or something like that.
So if the NCAA net rankings stay the same on Wednesday as they are today, New Mexico just creeps into that threshold for that to be a quad 1 game for USU Wednesday night. You have to host a team that's in the top 30 to be considered a quad 1 victory. And right now, New Mexico is at 30. So that meets that criteria. It's a big game for USU. Not just about getting a quad 1 win, whatever, but they've struggled against the other top teams in this conference. Can they at least get one in among those top 4 or 5 teams? Because as of yet, they haven't been able to get a win over those teams that are ahead of them currently in the standings, or at least with them in their same stratosphere. They haven't been able to do that. And so this is a really, really big game for USU to try to kind of bolster their own position in the top part of this league.
Yeah, Utah State, as I've said before, they've shown they're not in that kind of top tier because they keep losing to those teams. This is your first chance. You're finally playing one of these teams at home, whereas they've normally been playing all these difficult teams on the road. You get a chance to finally get back on the right track and say, all right, we can beat these good teams, and then you can use that going forward. Say, all right, we can beat them. It'll give you confidence. But if you lose this game to New Mexico on Wednesday, then that pretty much guarantees you're at best like the 5th best team in the conference, which, sure, you can do some damage in the tournament from that position. You can probably get yourself to the NIT at that point, but it still feel a bit disappointing given this season started out with nearly breaking the school record for best start in a season.
Right. Utah State needs to be NCAA tournament bound. They need to pick up wins like this one against New Mexico, and I believe they'll have to be in the semifinal at least in the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Taking your texts if you want to chime in or issue a complaint, and we got one. 435-339-0321.
Send them to the inbox.
6891 sends a photo onto the text line. It says, my one complaint is this, and it's a picture of the dashboard with the temperature reading at minus 30 degrees.
Where even is that?
Was that like up in Logan Canyon?
Well, he's not in the canyon. He's out somewhere that's fairly open.
I know there were pockets of really, really cold temperatures this morning.
It was, I saw the one report, and it was dancing around social media. The Peter Sinks was like negative 62.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like that's
unreal.
That's the old 5-second frostbite temperature.
It says he was on Old Menden Road.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there could be little pockets when you get into these. That's the thing about cold air. It can get certain low points. It just collects. That's what Peter Sinks is so famous.
Yeah, because it's famous for basically the lowest temperatures recorded in like North America are in the Peter Sinks. And it's lower than negative 62 when they recorded that temperature.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
That is I feel you on that complaint. That's definitely one we can all share.
Yeah,
6891.
Yeah, I stayed inside for most of the morning. I was doing work from home and doing some of these mid-region reviews, and then I was like, okay, it's afternoon. it was in the negatives earlier, but then I checked the weather. All right, what's it like? It's like still -1. It's like noon. I was like, come on. Needed to go get a haircut. And I was like, why is it so cold? And I had to go brush all the snow off my car. And just
It's cold. It's cold.
it's too cold, guys.
More jokes from 9315.
Yeah.
I'm not saying New Mexico basketball players are dumb, but the coach is dressing 6 players for this Wednesday's game. The rest will dress themselves.
That's funny.
Thank you, 9315. Let's see, 5879 texting in a photo of his temperature showing on his dashboard, -30 degrees. Dry lake in Sardine this morning. Ooh, -30.
He also had a couple texts earlier.
Yes.
Him and I think 9315 had some earlier texts.
Oh, let's skip over those. So we'll get back to 5879, a couple texts here. Asking how we're going to beat New Mexico this week. Do we shoot the 3 more? And also, when does Jones get back?
Well, the key isn't really to shoot the 3 more. It's just to make the 3 more. The 3-point attempts are generally fine in most games. They attempt when they're open. And they're usually taking smart threes for the most part. Obviously, not every 3 is smart. But it's just making them. When they make them, then go figure, the offense is better. Who would have thought making your 3s, results in more points? So that really is the
weird.
key.
Yeah.
This is the hard-hitting analysis you guys tune in for. When you make 3s, you get 3 points.
You make
per made
more
3.
points than other options.
Yeah, because that's been a huge key in these games where they're losing to these good teams. They usually wind up shooting like 32%, which is funny because you watch the announcers. They spend the entire pregame, this is the number 1 3-point shooting team, and then they spend the entire game saying, yeah, this is the number 1 3-point shooting team, but they're only shooting 29% from 3, and the other team is shooting 57%. It's every freaking broadcast. It's getting old.
Aggies should do something about their 3-point defense.
Yeah,
That
maybe
might
they
help.
should. That sounds like a good idea. Maybe tell Ryan Odom. He might not know about it.
Yeah, that's, again, hard-hitting analysis
Yes.
that you can only find here.
The best analysis in all of Cache Valley.
Yes. No, I think you're right, though. I mean, they have to be able to hit that outside shot. I think they need to have that balanced scoring, which we've talked about before. Because that will force that New Mexico defense to always be guessing. They'll never know where they're going to be hit next. It could be a shot from Ashworth. Could be something from Funk. Could be a putback from Atkin. It could be a drive from Bairstow or Shulga. You have to keep that New Mexico defense guessing as to where the Aggies will attack them next, because it can be effective at any point on the floor.
Yeah. And then to just the other text, when does Jones get back? And the answer is we don't know. Utah State is being hush-hush on his recovery from his latest injury.
They're still only calling it an undisclosed injury.
Yeah. I got one USA Today says it's an upper body injury. That's the closest I've gotten to an actual description of injury. But I don't even think USA Today gets their information from the schools. So I don't know where they got that from.
I don't know.
But, yeah, we don't know.
One national broadcast was openly calling it a concussion.
Say what?
A national broadcast shortly after it happened.
Yeah.
They were missing him because he had a concussion, but USU has never come out and said that.
Yeah, they've not said it publicly, so we can't really give any information there.
Yeah, I wish I could. I mean, the Aggies absolutely need him back. I mean, they can win. They've shown they can win without him, but they've shown that they lose without him too. And I think that he would really help in some of these situations where the team has gotten off the rails a little bit. Just his veteran leadership, directing traffic in tight situations. This team could really use him.
Yeah, they're a better team with him, probably because he makes those around him better and he opens up opportunities for them.
Yeah,
with his passing, and he's a decent shooter. He's a good spot-up shooter that can make things happen when you pass him the ball, and then it also opens up Stephen Ashworth a bit where he can play off the ball.
Yeah, true.
And it also opens up your point guard depth, gives you more guys that can initiate offense, and it can make some of their offensive lineups a little bit more deadly. Their best offensive lineups, both this year and last, had Ryland Jones and Stephen Ashworth on the court at the same time. Defensively, there's some iffy things there, but this year the defense is actually better with them. They've improved defensively with those lineups. But when you don't have that, you lose a very dangerous offensive lineup, one that's capable of closing games and winning you games. But they don't have that, and it just makes the team that much worse. It's not catastrophic, but it just makes your team that much worse, and it does affect your team. And sometimes in some close games, it could be the difference between winning and losing.
Right, difference between one right possession and one wrong possession, and having a more veteran presence on the floor may make the big difference between a win or a loss.
When the margins can be that thin, then it matters that you're losing your starting point guard.
Yeah. 9315, you did send in some texts. We'll get to those. Sent a picture of his temperature. Says it's not in Cache Valley, but where he's at as of 8 a.m. this morning, it's showing a negative 40.
There's a competition now?
Oh, my word. But sent this text in earlier saying the ESPN matchup predictor gives the Aggies a 67.7% chance to beat the Lobos tomorrow night, which is actually Wednesday night. Says this is probably the nicest thing ESPN has done about USU in a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's two Mountain West teams, so ESPN can just say, whatever. They just hate the Mountain West in general, so it's whatever.
Well, it's similar records, overall and in conference.
I'd say that's about right. Utah State is a good home team. They're a good team in general. New Mexico's shown some issues to win on the road at times. They've shown their own mortality, losing to UNLV and New Mexico. Utah State should be the favorite, and they are. And I believe the Vegas spread has Utah State as a favorite, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's come out yet.
Those usually don't come out until just before, the day before.
They probably will be the favorite. I'd say, 3 point, give or take 1 point. Maybe New Mexico pulls a point closer. But I'd be surprised if Utah State wasn't at least a 2 point favorite, if not close to 3.5.
Just double checking on that, and no, there's no line set on that just yet.
We'll
probably released tomorrow.
Yeah, so I think Utah State should be the favorite in that 67.7% chance. That's right about where I think it would be, right where I think it's fair. Obviously, New Mexico very capable of coming in and winning in the Spectrum. That is very possible, and Utah State should very much take that seriously, and they are. They're taking this game seriously. So, but I think Utah State has a very good chance to win this game, and it'd be huge for them. And it'd be a big momentum builder. Get a winning streak back up, show that you can beat some of the top teams in the conference, and go from there.
By the way, just there's another text we'll get to. 7994. I want to report a heat wave that will originate Wednesday night in the area around East Logan. Go Aggies.
Hopefully, that's not a heat wave coming from the south. That shows up in East Logan. I'd hope that that's a natural Cache Valley heat wave.
We don't need it. Warm air surfacing from Albuquerque.
We don't need a warm front from the south.
No.
Right.
By the way, we were talking about top 25 teams, and somehow I looked at it again and refreshed it. Went and looked at a couple different sources, and I must have just overlooked them because they're there. San Diego State is ranked 22nd. Yeah. I don't know what I was looking at. Apparently not. Skipped right over the Aztecs.
See, I'd seen it on Twitter, but I hadn't, double checked it. And yeah, yes. You were looking at the ESPN, who puts all the rankings in one place, which is another quality of life use. One of the few uses for ESPN on their website is the consolidation of rankings.
Yes,
but for the AP, mostly because I don't really care about the coaches poll as much. I usually just go to the AP site.
Yeah, so San Diego State is at 22. New Mexico fell out of the rankings. They are getting some votes. Boise State's also getting some attention, not far behind New Mexico, and Nevada getting a little bit of love as well, even though they lost on Saturday at UNLV on the road.
They beat New Mexico, so that gives them the.
I guess that's true.
That's how voting is. Like
it's earlier in the week.
It's like you beat the ranked team, you get the votes. I don't know if it was Chris Murray voting for them either.
Oh, yeah, it could have been.
He doesn't strike me as biased, though.
I don't think hometown guy.
I don't know if he'd be quite like that.
No. 435-339-0321 if you want to chime in. Just the net rankings updated today. Not a lot of change. Boise State is, they dropped 1 point from a week ago. San Diego State has moved up 3. That's probably the biggest mover in the top section, although Nevada did drop 4 spots in the net. when you look at those top 5 teams. New Mexico dropped a couple. The Aggies stayed the same. UNLV moved up 7 spots. So now the Mountain West has 6 teams in the top 75, 5 in the top 37. So impressive to see the top half of this league continuing to play well. And when you play each other, those top teams play each other, you're not going to move very much. It's those lower teams have the biggest opportunity to move up or down based on if they start getting on a run or start getting hot.
Yeah, so lower teams, or if you have one of the teams, kind of like San Diego State doing right now, where they have the one loss in conference play, they're going to be making some of those jumps, or at least consistent, maybe not so much big jumps as they are just consistent smaller jumps, because the other teams, they're not really, they'll move up one every now and again, but maybe they'll take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. San Diego State just keep going up and up because they keep winning.
Yes.
They're on the 4-game win streak. They're the 6 or 7-1 in conference play. So they'll keep going up unless somebody then drops them back down. We'll see if that happens.
San Diego State is 8-1 in conference play.
8-1, whatever.
So it's going to be a pretty busy night on Tuesday throughout the Mountain West. UNLV's at Colorado State, Boise State's at Air Force, Fresno State's at Wyoming, and number 22, San Diego State, they're at Nevada Tuesday night, 9 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. That could be a really interesting game. We've seen Nevada play really well at home. This is a tough test for the Aztecs on the road.
Yeah, Nevada staved off then-ranked New Mexico in overtime. The game that was kind of ruined by a bad, I'm not going to say a bad call, but
questionable
just a call decision. At the end. Like I said, decision by the referees was by the book. It was just dumb that it happened.
Just the way that it happened is it's the bizarre aspect of it.
So we'll see if Nevada can pull off the same shenanigans against San Diego State on Tuesday tomorrow. Dang, that's a late tip. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Geez, they play. I guess Nevada's in the Pacific time zone.
Yeah, so it would be an 8 o'clock in the Pacific time zone, which is still a little bit late, but
still annoying. Nobody on the East Coast will ever watch this game.
No, it's all about Reno and San Diego fans watching this one.
Yeah, should be a good game. We'll try and watch it. Should be free that day.
All right, quick time out here in the Full Court Press. So we'll continue to look at what's going on around the Mountain West Conference, Region 11 for high school hoops, and the Utah Jazz. A little bit of a break here for the Jazz, kind of a surprising number of days off for Utah as they finish up kind of a favorable schedule for them before the All-Star break, especially before the NBA trade deadline, which is now about a week and a half away. We'll discuss more of that coming up on the Full Court Press.
What do Valentine's Day and Jarek's have in common? They're both all about the romance. Jarek's Fine Jewelry has a great selection for your sweetheart. Don't sweat it out worrying about where to get the perfect gift. We've recently added a 3D laser engraver. Now through Valentine's, Jarek's will personalize any jewelry purchase for no additional charge. We can engrave a wedding date, a name, or any message on most jewelry, like a pendant, watch, bracelet, the inside or outside of a ring. This Valentine's, let us help personalize your gift and make it special. Make it Jarek's.
Experience Sunday brunch at Prodigy Brewing on Center Street. Churro French toast, beignets and berries, and everyone's favorite chilaquiles. A delicious combination of eggs, house-made enchilada sauce, tortilla chips, avocado, and pico. Brunch has an all-new meaning of tasty when you visit Prodigy Brewing. Served Sundays 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Prodigy's atmosphere is vibrant, energetic, and friendly. Whether it's with family or friends, Sunday brunch at Prodigy Brewing is a delicious experience. Prodigy Brewing, exceptional food, extraordinary service, and family-friendly on Center Street in downtown Logan.
Has inflation got you down? This is Zach with HSA Depot. Did you know you can save money by using your pre-tax income to buy qualifying medical supplies? Health savings and flex spending accounts can be used for more than just doctor visits and prescriptions. HSA Depot helps you conquer your health care by providing HSA and FSA eligible products, taking the guesswork out of the process. Come to HSA Depot next to Sally Beauty and see how much you can save. HSA Depot, 5-star review.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
Creating healthy habits and lifestyles begins when our families are young. This is Dan at the Sports Academy. Keep your kids active with year-round Swim America swim lessons, tennis lessons, and tumbling and trampoline lessons. Both group and private lessons are available to fit your busy schedule. Let our talented coaches teach your kids life skills and build self-confidence that will last a lifetime. Enroll online at sportsacademy.com. The Sports Academy, your club, your results, your life.
Crystal Vision would like to thank their clients for their best year yet. They're grateful for your business and trust. It's a new year, so time for a new look. Crystal Vision, the gold medal winner in Best of Northern Utah, has a frame style you'll love that will set you apart from others. Take in your current prescription and let Crystal Vision fit you into a new look. Let this be the year your glasses feel like they were made for you. Crystal Vision on 14th North or online at crystalvision.com.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen and the jiving Jason Walker.
Gotta get in the groove, Eric. Get in the groove.
9315 sending in a text. USU women's basketball can't win games. What a sad year so far. Last game I was hopeful, but didn't happen in the end. Is women's basketball the most struggling sport team at USU right now?
I think it is. I'm trying to, because the other sports that were struggling were volleyball and soccer, but they've very much rebounded. Volleyball, very much so, to the tune of back-to-back seasons of hardware that they brought home trophies and rings.
Gymnastics is competitive.
Yeah, even though they lost their coach, they're probably they've I guess lost some of their win-loss record is complicated because of the way they do meets, but they've been going up against some of the best teams in the country.
They've scored really well.
Yeah, they've scored well, so they're doing just fine.
They're competitive, yeah.
Even if their win-loss record or whatever they call it, that's not really important. But that doesn't look good. But they are performing, well.
Yeah, track and field.
Track and field, they've been consistently good.
Yeah.
Men's tennis dropped off a little bit. They lost a coach a few years back who was really good. They haven't quite recovered, but they're still solid. Women's tennis has been okay. And then there's a golf team. Believe it or not, they have a golf team. It's the one sport I haven't covered at Utah State.
Golf?
Is the men's golf team, yeah. I've covered in some capacity every other scholarship sport and several of the club sports.
I think golf struggles a bit, mostly because of just flat-out geography.
It's just this isn't a place where you do golf.
No.
And you're doing them a disservice.
Just at least when the season happens in the conference schedule, they're having to do a lot of their games or matches or tournaments away, and you can't really go somewhere to prep very well.
Have they even hosted any sort of event here in Cache Valley Logan? I don't even know if they have an NCAA level golf course. Logan Country Club might be the closest.
Might be the closest, but I don't know.
I don't even know if that's capable because it's not capable of hosting any, lower level tour events. It's not good enough for that. So it's can it do college level? I don't know. But because of the season, the country club's not capable of hosting it. They
hosted a junior amateur. So these are younger.
Yeah, if you get younger and younger, the problem is when you get closer and closer to, guys in their 20s and up into the pros, they're just better than that course. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I'm not digging on it because not every course is designed to be like that. You don't always make a course to be pro level. It's that you got to make it for us casuals, some of us mortals, to actually be able to play golf on those. So it's like, it's a disservice to these athletes that you have them on scholarship at a place that's just not capable of having a golf team.
So beyond that, then I think you're probably right. It would have to be, yes, women's basketball is the sport that is underperforming the most.
Yeah, which is a shame because we've seen these two other programs in soccer and volleyball. They brought in new coaches. They changed the, volleyball had a couple of seasons. You think, women's basketball, they've only won a handful of games in the last 2 years. Volleyball had a stretch where I think they won 3 or 4 games in a 2-year stretch. And they've bounced back from that just absolutely awful stretch for back-to-back seasons of conference titles. And soccer, they bounced back from being not so much bad, but below average to like mediocre at best, to being among the better teams in the conference. That at one point they beat a BYU team in a year where BYU ended up being the national runner-up. So I guess at some point the program turns it around because they've been good at times, but it just takes takes some luck sometimes. Get the right person at the right time, land the right recruit at the right time, the right diamond in the rough, and then suddenly maybe you're back on track.
Well, and keeping them too, because USU women's basketball has had points where they've uncovered and developed some good players, but they weren't able to keep them. Now, that's more a reflection of the previous coaching staff. That was consistently a problem, but this roster is almost completely made over from where it was a year ago currently. So, those other sports that we mentioned, they had moments where they were good and they were competitive. It's been a long time since USU women's basketball has been good or competitive.
Yeah, it's been probably 5-6.
The gap is much wider there for that sport.
Yeah, it's been 5-6 years ago. They played in like the CBI or something like that. And basically that's the last year where they were decent, which is a shame. Because they have had some good players roll through here, but they don't stick around. So, and then there's a whole can of worms with this women's basketball team, and it's not an easy thing to unpack why they're not doing well. I guess you can kind of figure out why they're not doing good, but why the program isn't good is a long-lasting issue. But hopefully it gets resolved.
Yeah, hopefully. 435-339-0321 if you want to continue to chime in. We're going to take a quick timeout here in the Full Court Press. Utah Jazz picking up a nice win over the Dallas Mavericks on Saturday, but now they've got a kind of an interesting break before their next game. We'll update you on that, what their remaining schedule looks like ahead of the trade deadline. Coming up next here in the Full Court Press.
As a small business, achieving your financial goals and ambitions can be a steep and rocky mountain climb. This is Lance Zollinger, president at Cache Valley Bank. To conquer the mountain and achieve your goals, it takes planning, hard work, and discipline. At Cache Valley Bank, we have the resources, expertise, and flexibility to help you scale your way to success. Give us a call. Let's work together and climb the mountains that await. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. It's just another way we install confidence. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Let's talk about getting your car registered. What a pain! With registration and emissions, it takes hours. Valvoline Instant Oil Change in Logan, across from Aggies, will take that pain away. Stop in to get your oil changed and have the emissions test done. Then re-register your car. It's that easy, all in one stop. The best thing? You can stay in your car while their trained pros service your vehicle. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, 695 North Main. Open 7 days a week.
100 plus businesses, thousands of people, free parking, Main Street access. It's the Cache Valley Media Group Home and Garden Show presented by Anderson Seed and Garden at the Eccles Ice Center, March 24th and 25th. If you are a home and garden business, from crafts to home building or excavation to emergency preparedness, this show is for you. Google Cache Valley Home and Garden Show for details.
That's Cache Valley Home and Garden Show.
Or call 752-1390 for more details.
Alpine Home Medical has been around for over 25 years. Can you believe that? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. What keeps us coming to work every day? We're passionate about caring for you. From home and bathroom safety to transportation, mobility, recovery, oxygen, sleep, and more, come into any of our 10 locations today and let us take care of you.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Are you ready for Valentine's kisses and wishes? It's time to make your Valentine's Day reservation for the Sweethearts Buffet at the Riverwoods Conference Center on Friday, February 10th. Experience a romantic ambiance with piano music and a kissing booth backdrop for selfies. A delicious selection of entrees that include herb-roasted New York loin and pesto roasted turkey. And it wouldn't be Valentine's without a decadent dessert bar filled with all your favorite dreamy sweets. Now as for the kisses, better make your reservation today. Riverwoods Conference Center. Call 750-5151.
Breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker. And you. We always love to hear from you. 435-339-0321. A lot of people sending in pics of their the dashboard in their car where it shows the temperature at various locations this morning.
This is the most photos we've ever had texted in one day.
I think that's true.
It's like a competition. Negative 30, negative 30, negative 40.
40. It's cold. It's cold, really cold.
Baby, it's cold outside.
So, Utah Jazz beating the Luka Doncic-less Dallas Mavericks on Saturday. Jumped out to a pretty good lead. Dallas made their run. Utah held them off, so that was good. Yeah, Jazz win 108-100 and get to 26-26 overall, right to 500. Then their next game isn't until Wednesday. So it's kind of a weird time off here for the Utah Jazz, a break that's longer than normal.
Yeah, these happen every 2-3 times a season. You get these weird 4-day breaks or something like that. And it's really nice for the team. It's hard on the fan because all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, they don't play till when?
I know. I was checking the schedule today who are the Jazz playing tonight? Wait, they don't play tonight. Yeah. I know they play Wednesday, but surely they play somebody in between.
They play tomorrow, right? It's back now. They just get 4 days off or however many days it is. So it's good for the team. They get a chance to actually have a real practice instead of a walkthrough or just rest, since a lot of times you need that time for your body to heal a little bit. So, yeah, nice for them. Get a chance to scout out the Raptors, who they're playing next, and they're still in the middle of this they're just starting the 5-game homestand, I guess.
Yeah, just beat Dallas on Saturday. Then they've got several more home games before the NBA trade deadline. So we'll have Toronto come into town on Wednesday, Atlanta on Friday, Dallas next Monday. And it looks like Luka probably will be back for that one. He could play in their game tonight.
Yeah, it was kind of a minor ankle injury, so
nothing too significant.
Yeah, won't be keeping out long unless he re-aggravates it.
And then Rudy Gobert and the Minnesota Timberwolves making their way back to Salt Lake on Wednesday, February 8th. The NBA trade deadline is on Thursday, February 9th. So Jazz are 26-26 now and currently in the 10th position in the Western Conference. And as we've said before, 2 games separate, really now it's a game and a half, separate home court advantage and being on the fringe of the playoffs. or being out of the playoffs altogether.
Yeah, the Jazz a whole 1.5 games behind the LA Clippers, who are the 4 seed. So, yeah, that's not much separating, but like I said,
Very crowded field.
Yeah, only 2 games in the opposite way where the LA Lakers, they're at 13. That's the that's the gap. 4.5 games between 4th place and 13th.
That is nuts.
Yeah, that's the NBA at this point. That seems like it happens every single year where the West just gets absolutely clustered in the middle, where it's like the distance between 4th and 13th in the East is, I got to break out a calculator for this, 11.5 games. And it's 4.5.
Yeah, big disparity. So what I have to wonder here is once we get maybe we get past the trade deadline, maybe we get to the All-Star break, there's been a lot of teams in the West kind of clumped together, and some of these teams have pretty big name stars on their teams. Some of them, they've been resting, they haven't been playing that much. At what point do teams start to make their moves? Because it seems like right now teams are just kind of in this holding pattern. We want to develop our roster. We're going to play. We're going to try to win the games that we're in, but it's not like we're going to kill ourselves to go out and get a bunch of wins right now. But at what point do they start to kick it into that other gear and have that separation start to happen?
Well, it's interesting because there's a lot of buyers in the Western Conference, and there's a handful in the East. You look at the Clippers, they're buyers. The Timberwolves, they probably don't have anything to buy with. The Warriors would theoretically be buyers. They might be in the same place where they can't buy. The Mavericks really want to be buyers. The Pelicans are probably content with where their team is now, maybe a minor trade for them. They have their core, and they want to see what they can do with it. If they're major buyers, it will probably be next season as they continue to try and go through with the core that they have. The Suns, they've been well known to be trying to get rid of Jay Crowder and just replace him with literally anybody. The Jazz, interestingly enough, they're sellers. They're kind of in the mix with a lot of these teams, but they're more likely to be sellers, selling a Mike Conley, Malik Beasley, selling them to the Clippers, the Mavericks, and maybe not the Pelicans or the Suns, or in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks or the Hawks or somebody. So I think the more likely teams to make a move are maybe the Mavericks or the Clippers. But a lot of these teams maybe just don't have the ammo to make any of these trades or aren't willing to sacrifice the assets to make them. Because the trade market isn't all that rich. The Jazz have most of the premium players that are likely to be traded, and they're not particularly, there's some value there, obviously, but they're role-filling guys. And I don't think it's likely that players like a John Collins, who's maybe a bit more of an attractive option in terms of his on-court ability, I don't feel like he's going to leave. Like Rui Hachimura, he was one of the other better options. He's a lot on par with Beasley and Clarkson, just at a different position. That's a small-time role-player trade. So I don't know if any of these trades are really going to make any of these teams better or worse in a significant way. It's just going to come down to some of these teams are going to get hot and separate, and some of these teams might collapse. The Jazz might, I don't know, collapse is the right word, but they might go down a little bit. And I don't know. Maybe none of them get hot and they just kind of stay within 3-4 games of each other the rest of the way. That's certainly a possibility. So I don't feel like any trades are going to be made that completely alters the landscape of at least the Western Conference. Maybe in the East. But in the East, they've already kind of drawn their battle lines. We know who's good and who's not.
Well, that's what kind of actually makes me wonder, like a team like Atlanta, Chicago, maybe even Toronto, teams that are underperforming based on where we think they normally should be, would they do what they feel is necessary to improve their position to become more competitive and to get back into the conversation where currently they're kind of out of that conversation?
Seems like the Raptors are more likely to just blow it up. The Bulls, maybe the Bulls are kind of in the same position as the Raptors, where it's like you think they want to blow it up, except the Bulls are like, they don't have any of the assets of the Raptors. Like, the Raptors have a ton of desirable players. Fred VanVleet, OG, never pronounced his last name correctly.
Anunoby. Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam. They have a lot of attractive options that they could sell, and if they end up selling one of those options, those guys could actually make a difference. If Anunoby and Siakam and all, Scotty Barnes is another young player. I don't know. It just depends if the Raptors actually want to trade those players, because they are valuable guys. Those guys could wind up making a difference, but there's not really any smoke around the Raptors actually moving those guys. The Hawks, they're kind of trying to sell John Collins, but they're trying to just do a lateral trade where they send him away, just get somebody back, kind of like with the Suns and Jay Crowder, where it's just, yeah, okay, they're selling, but they're actually kind of trying to buy at the same time. They're actually trying to do an even trade, like for like, instead of player for picks or assets. So, but because with Atlanta, they did that huge trade for just his name left my brain the second I needed to say it. The former Spurs guard, Dejounte Murray.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they paid a premium for him, and what do they have left to trade? Like, what are they bringing in?
True.
So there's nothing they can trade for that's going to make them any better than the 8th seed. And there's just a lot of problems with that. They probably just need a new coach, maybe a couple trades, and try one more time to get Trae Young to work as the head of a team. But I saw one thing that was actually interesting. I think Trae Young, in terms of the player vote for All-Star, I'd heard this. I didn't confirm this myself, but apparently he got fewer votes from the players than he had teammates.
Oh.
Which is awkward.
Yeah.
For a guy as good as Trae Young, supposedly. That's awkward.
That's awkward. 5374 with a text about the Jazz. With Clarkson's production, do we still consider him a role player?
Well, if he goes to another team, he would be a role player. On the Jazz, he's one of the better players.
Right. He's a star for the Jazz. If he goes to a contending team, he would be a role player.
Yeah, so that's why I say when I talk about Clarkson and Beasley being role players, that's the role they would go to fill. They're not going to another team to be the leading or second leading scorer. Clarkson would go to basically play the role he had been playing, where he was like the third or fourth leading scorer coming off the bench, being a spark plug scorer. So, yeah, that's how it is with Clarkson in terms of him being considered a role player in a trade.
All right, got to take a timeout here in the Full Court Press. And before we get to the timeout, we'll get an update on other things going on throughout the Mountain West Conference this week in the Mountain West, and we'll be right back.
This is your Mountain West basketball update with Nate Kreckman.
Calendar flipping to February, and the depth of the Mountain West showing off in the net rankings. 5 league teams rated in the top 37 following Saturday's action. We begin with the highest-ranked Mountain West team in the net. That's Leon Rice's Boise State Broncos at 22. They run their home court record at 10-1 on the season, cruising to an 80-59 win over Colorado State Saturday at Extra Mile Arena.
Degenhart powers his way into the paint between 2 defenders. Beautiful move.
Bob Beeler from Learfield. Tyson Degenhart, a highly efficient 10 of 11 from the field. Game-high 22 points in the win. Boise State second in the Mountain West standings at 7-2 in conference play. Top spot belongs to San Diego State. The Aztecs once again take care of business on their home floor in a 72-51 win over San Jose State.
Getting better and better. Another steal. Trammell, 2-on-1. Wait. Hand it off. Keyshot goes up. Slam dunk. 2 hands.
The great Ted Leitner on San Diego Sports 760. Keyshawn Johnson, 16 points, 8 boards. Aztecs, 23 in the net. At 33, it's Utah State. The Aggies, 17-5 on the year after Saturday's impressive 70-53 road win at Fresno State.
Here comes Shulgin to Bairstow. Bairstow throws down the dunk. In transition, fast break opportunities for Utah State.
Call from Scott Gerard on 1280 The Zone. Dan Atkin, 23 off the bench to pace Utah State. Rounding out the Big Five in the Mountain West, Nevada actually falls to 37 in the net. 68-62 loss at UNLV as the Rebels get 18 from E.J. Harkless, while number 30 New Mexico handles Air Force 81-73 Friday night in Albuquerque.
Mash curls up Udeze screen to the rim, lays it in! Another chance for an and one! Mashburn Jr. has erupted here late in the second half.
Robert Portnoy from KKOB, and that's your Mountain West basketball update. I'm Nate Kreckman.
Want to set yourself apart from the competition? The Leadership MBA at Utah State University will help you lead companies and drive change in your organization. You can attend in person in Logan on Thursday evenings or take an interactive online class. Complete your MBA in as little as a year. Apply before March 1st to be considered for summer semester. Contact the MBA office for a waiver of the $55 application fee. Learn more at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com.
It's engagement season. Time to find the perfect ring. S.E. Needham Jewelers is known for beautifully cut diamonds at excellent prices. Guys, the sparkle is what matters most in the diamond you give your sweetheart. Our diamonds stand apart from those of other stores. Come view our diamonds under magnification. Select a diamond that fits your budget and then have it mounted in a ring that she'll love. Remember, you get S.E. Needham quality at internet pricing. Open Monday through Saturday 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is locally owned and operated inside the beautiful new Three Peaks Medical Plaza in North Logan. Expect the most cutting-edge techniques, qualified doctors, and friendly staff to ensure the highest quality patient care. The ENT providers have extensive training to properly treat ear, nose, and throat conditions for adults and children. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat serves all of northern Utah and southern Idaho, accepting most insurance products including SelectMed. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, located in North Logan and Providence.
Northern Utah and Southern Idaho's home for sports. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker.
You have one text we probably get to before we move into Pick 6 results.
All right. Let's do that. 9315 texting in. I'm happy we played Boise at the end of conference play because they should be working on the end of the year spiral they have every year.
Yeah? Isn't it last or second to last game the Aggies played Boise State? I'm looking at their schedule. It is the last game of the regular season. Utah State
UNLV's on the road near the end there.
Yeah, Utah State plays at UNLV March 1st, then Boise State in the Spectrum Saturday, March 4th to end the regular season.
9315 is correct. There usually is some late season collapse for Boise State. Sometimes it happens in the tournament.
Oh, 9315 also wondering about. He sent a text, but did I hear USU got a new USU football got a new coach? Not that I'm aware of that. Not officially. They did lose one of their positional coaches, I think, to somewhere. Maybe they filled that spot. But I was looking at their Twitter feed earlier because that's, they probably would have announced if it happened the last couple days. But
I know they have their National Letter of Intent signing day on Wednesday. We'll have opportunity to talk to Coach Anderson at that point as finalize their recruiting roster for the season. And, we'll see what they look like going forward from that.
Yeah, hopefully they'll announce a couple more solid signings, but probably won't be too much bigger than the class they already have because it's already pretty big.
Yeah.
But they did lose.
They've had several players announce they were leaving since that early signing period took place.
So they'll certainly need to fill in some spots, but they may fill in some of those with the transfer portal moving forward into the spring.
Yeah, that's true. One thing we need to do before we close up the show is see how we did. Grade ourselves on predicting the weekend.
Good old C-.
Pick 6. Some of us got a better grade than others. So let's look at how we recap what happened over the weekend. So start us off. Skyview over Mountain Crest in boys basketball. This was a really bad line.
Yeah, I picked that one really quickly.
You did not hesitate. I put it as 7.5 for the Bobcats. They nearly doubled that. They won by 14 over the Mustangs. You took the over. I took the under. Ochai Agbaji, points, rebounds, and assists in the Jazz game against the Dallas Mavericks. Set the line at 5.5. It totaled out to be 7. He had 4 points, 3 rebounds, no assists. You took the over, so you got that right. I took the under. I did not. USU over Fresno State. Set the line at 7.5. As we've been talking, Aggies blew that out of the water, won by 17. I took the over. You took the under on that one. Luka Doncic points versus Utah. Well, he didn't play. Line was set at 30.5, but he didn't play. We both took the over, and so we both got it wrong.
Wasn't thinking he was going to miss the game because that was my line, right?
Yes. Points between USU and Fresno State combined total. Line was set at 130.5. You took the under. I took the over. It was 123. So you've got 3. I only have 1 at this point. Coming down to our last one, Region 11 teams that will be in the top 3 in the RPI rankings for both boys and girls. Line was set at 3.5. Total number was actually 5. We both took the over. So I got 2 correct. You got 4 correct.
There we go. Back on top, baby.
Very good. Didn't come down to the tiebreaker, but if it had, I would have got that, but didn't come down to it.
What was the tiebreaker again?
Team sacks by Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, because they got 4 sacks?
Yeah, it was 3 recorded sacks.
What was the line?
3.5. Oh, sorry. You took – never mind.
Yeah, I took the under.
You took the under on that.
Good thing you didn't go to the tiebreaker because you would have cheated me.
I still would have lost that one.
Don't be cheating me.
No. We'll do better next week.
He says.
435-339-0321. Appreciate all the texts that came in today, all the photos of your dashboards showing your temperatures. Hopefully tomorrow a little bit warmer.
Hopefully.
Not significantly, though, but be safe. I know there's still some areas where there's wind advisories, wind chill, along with the cold, so be careful, be safe.
Don't let your pipes freeze.
Yeah, no. If there are any additional closures or things like that with USU or local schools, be sure to check CashValleyDaily.com. We'll have all the details there, or listen to your favorite local radio station. We'll try to get those details to you the best that we can. And the full schedule of what's happening later this week for high school hoops, it will be there as well. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you back here again on Tuesday.